everyone, what's up? Welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well and been having some good reads and a good weekend, and I hope you're ready for story time because I've got another 1001 Tales with a genie. So, you gotta rock the blue because everybody knows genies are blue. We've all seen Aladdin. Oh, one under. Okay. Gotta have the little man tucked in. He has to have his nappy time all tucked in and nice and comfy there. So y'all can't see him now, but he's right on my hip. And I got the blue nails because Once Upon a Readathon is happening for June, and I'm Team Pirate, so water. So it just works. So I hope y'all are having fun, and well, I've got a little short one for you today. It's the tale of King Yunan and Duban the Doctor, but it's part of the Fisherman and the Genie series of this. I don't know what this has to do with the genie, but it's under his heading, so hopefully we can have some fun with this one. Like, the last genie one was pretty good, so let's get into it, shall we? So, it is related, began the fisherman, that once upon a time there reigned in the land of Persia a rich and mighty king called Yunan. He commanded great armies and had a numerous retinue of followers and courtiers. But he was afflicted with the leprosy which baffled his physicians and defied all cures. One day a venerable old doctor named Duban came to the king's capital. He had studied books written in Greek, Persian, Latin, Arabic, and Syriac. That's a new one. I've never heard that one. And was deeply versed in the wisdom of the ancients. He was master of many sciences, knew the properties of plants and herbs, and was above all skilled in astrology and medicine. When this physician heard of the leprosy with which Allah had plagued the king, and of his doctor's vain endeavors to cure him, he put on his finest robes and betook himself to the royal palace. After he had kissed the ground before the king and called down blessings upon him, he told him who he was and said, "Great king, I have heard about the illness with which you are afflicted and have come to heal you. Yet will I give you no potion to drink, nor any ointment to rub upon your body." The king was astonished at the doctor's words and asked, "How will you do that? By Allah, if you cure me, I will heap riches upon you and your children's children after you. Anything you wish for shall be yours, and you shall be my companion and friend." Seems appropriate. Then the king gave him a robe of honor and other presents and asked, "Is it really true that you can heal me without draught or ointment? When is it to be? What day? What hour?" I've totally lost my place already. Sometimes I'm good at this, sometimes not so much. Sorry. "So tomorrow, if the king wishes," the doctor replied. He took leave of the king, and hastening to the center of the town, rented for himself a house, to which he carried his books, his drugs, and his other medicaments. Then he distilled balsams and elixirs, and these he poured into a hollow polo stick. Next morning he went to the royal palace and, kissing the ground before the king, requested him to ride to the field and play a game of polo with his friends. The king rode out with his viziers and his chamberlains, and when he had entered the playing field, the doctor handed him the hollow club and said, "Take this and grasp it firmly. Strike the ball with all your might until the palm of your hand rests and the rest of your body begin to perspire. The cure will penetrate your palm and course through your veins and arteries of your body. When it has done its work, return to the palace, wash yourself, and go to sleep. Thus shall you be cured, and peace be with you." He looks quite sad there. The king took hold of the club and, gripping it firmly, struck the ball and galloped after it with all the other players. Harder and harder he struck the ball as he dashed up and down the field until his palm and all his body perspired. When the doctor saw that the cure had begun its work, he ordered the king to return to the palace. The slaves hastened to make ready the royal bath and prepare the linens and the towels. The king bathed, put on his night clothes, and went to sleep. Next morning, the physician went to the palace. When he was admitted to the king's presence, he kissed the ground before him and wished him peace. The king hastily rose to receive him. He threw his arms around his neck and seated him by his side. For when the king had left the bath the previous evening, he looked upon his body and rejoiced to find no trace of the leprosy. His skin has become as pure as virgin silver. The king regaled the physician sumptuously all day. He bestowed on him robes of honor and other gifts, and, when evening came, gave him 2,000 pieces of gold and mounted him on his own favorite horse. So enraptured was the king by the consummate skill of his doctor that he kept repeating to himself, "This wise physician has cured me without draught or ointment. By Allah, I will load him with honors, and he shall henceforth be my companion and trusted friend." And that night the king lay down to sleep in perfect bliss, knowing that he was clean in body and rid at last of his disease. Next morning, as soon as the king sat down upon his throne, with the officers of his court standing before him, and his lieutenants and viziers seated on his right and left, he called for the physician, who went up to him and kissed the ground before him. The king rose and seated the doctor by his side. He feasted him all day, gave him 1,000 pieces of gold and more robes of honor, and conversed with him till nightfall. Now, among the king's viziers there was a man of repellent aspect, an envious, black-souled villain, full of spite and cunning. When the vizier saw that the king had made the physician his friend and lavished on him high dignities and favors, he became jealous and began to plot the doctor's downfall. Does not the proverb say, "All men envy, the strong openly, and the weak in secret"? So on the following day, when the king entered the council chamber and was about to call for the physician, the vizier kissed the ground before him and said, "My bounteous master, whose munificence extends to all men, my duty prompts me to forewarn you against an evil which threatens your life. Nor would I be anything but a base-born wretch were I to conceal it from you." He might be weak. Perturbed at these ominous words, the king ordered him to explain his meaning. "Your Majesty," resumed the vizier, "there is an old proverb which says, He who does not weigh the consequences of his acts shall never prosper. Now I have seen the king bestow favors and showers honors upon his enemy, on an assassin who cunningly seeks to destroy him. I fear for the king's safety." "Who is this man whom you suppose to be my enemy?" asked the king, turning pale. "If you are asleep, your Majesty," replied the vizier, "I beg you to awake. I speak of Duban, the doctor." "He is my friend," replied the king angrily, "dearer to me than all my courtiers, for he has cured me of my leprosy, an evil which my physicians had failed to remove. Surely there is no other physician like him in the whole world, from east to west. How can you say these monstrous things of him? From this day I will appoint him my personal physician, give him every month 1,000 pieces of gold. Were I to bestow on him the half of my kingdom, it would be but a small reward for his service. Your counsel, my vizier, is the prompting of jealousy and envy. Would you have me kill my benefactor and repent of my rashness, as King Sinbad repented after he had killed his falcon?" Well, I don't know what on earth that has to do with the fisherman and the genie, but, I mean, clearly that's what the title is. It's kind of hard to see in that glare in print, but I'm kind of curious what's going to happen from there, so I guess we'll find out together on the next one. It's The Tale of King Sinbad and the Falcon. So, it's doing, Scheherazad's job of, she's ending on a curious note, and I want to know what happens next, so I hope you enjoyed that. Apparently Little Man didn't find it too enjoyable. He's down here having a little nap.